What's up, moviegoers? It's Luke Rollins again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing the New Mutants movie review, so let's get started. Rahne Sinclair, Illyana, Sam, and Roberto are 4 young mutants being held in an isolated hospital for psychiatric monitoring. Dr. Cecilia Reyes, believing the teenagers are a danger both to themselves and to society as a whole, keeps a close eye on them as she struggles to teach them how to rein in their mutant abilities. When newcomer Danielle, Dani Moonstar, joins the other patients in the facility, strange occurrences begin to take place. The hospital's patients aren't plagued by hallucinations and flashbacks, and their new mutant abilities and their friendships will be tested as they battle to try to make it out alive. Okay guys, so I recently saw this movie at a movie theater drive-in last night, and I gotta say guys, this movie was I had some mixed feelings about this movie. I was kind of disappointed, and I was kind of, pleased with some of it. So I'm going to talk about some of the good things about the film first before I dig into the bad stuff. I don't want to hate on this film. I mean, it did take forever for them to, release this film, which, I don't understand. But I'm going to talk about some of the good things about this film. One of the things I really love about this movie is how this movie is set up to be in a dark and isolated psychiatric hospital with these, 4 mutant teenagers who are still developing, their mutant powers, or, who are going through their greatest fear in this dark hospital that is just so creepy. And, that's what I love about this movie is, the setting of this movie, where it takes place. One of the things I really loved about this movie was Anya Taylor-Joy starring as Magik. Magik is the younger sister of the Russian X-Men member Colossus. You may know him from Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, the big silver guy. But you guys, I gotta say, Magik starring as Anya Taylor-Joy was just such a good pick. Anya Taylor-Joy just nailed it right outside the box. She got into character with, this, Russian accent. I was kind of surprised that she could keep up, with that good Russian accent. And yeah, if you guys don't know who Magik is, her superhero ability is to teleport places. One of the things I loved about this movie though was how Anya Taylor-Joy's character was very, she had that selfish vibe. She was kind of like the bully of, all 4 of them. She would make fun of them, especially Dani's character. I just found her humor just amazing in this movie. I think you guys are going to like Magik starring as Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah, so one of the things I love about this movie is Dani Moonstar's character and Maisie Williams' character. They kind of have this kind of love story at first sight. They see each other, they kind of like each other, and as this movie starts to progress, their relationship gets stronger and stronger, and yeah. But that's one of the things I really love about this movie is how they added that in this movie. I think they did really good with that, adding that in a Marvel film or something. Last but not least, one of the things I love about this movie is the visual effects. The visual effects between all 4 mutants, Magik, Rein, Roberto, and Charlie Heaton's character, is just amazing. The visual effects are stunning. I gotta say, that was one good thing about this movie that I thought was gonna be a total complete fail, but they actually nailed, to pull it off, and it was kind of pretty neat and cool. One of the things I didn't like about this movie was the pacing of this movie. This movie was very slow. In the beginning, we have Danielle Moonstar starring as this mutant who doesn't know exactly what her superhero abilities are, or her mutant powers. She arrives at the hospital. She doesn't know why she's here or what's going on. And at that point, when I was watching this movie, I was like, okay, so this is kind of confusing, and this is kind of a waste of my time. Why am I here? But yeah, very little information that gets your adrenaline going, or, gets your interest. It was just not working out. There was no excitement. Oh, one of the things I was really hoping for to go into this movie and watching this movie was, actually getting to see these, 4 teenager mutants, use their powers and, kind of like have that save the world vibe, like the X-Men. But it turns out that we didn't really get to see as much of their mutant powers, but we got to see what they feared, more. So I kind of feel like the director could have done a better job, like showing us, what they can do with their mutant powers. If you've seen any of the other X-Men movies, like X-Men 1 or 2, you see all these, kids, using their mutant powers in Xavier's, school. They had absolutely no, like, they didn't really show as much, of their powers. And it was like, well, why am I coming to this movie? And, I mean, that's why people, go see, these X-Men movies, is because, it's a superhero film. We want to see them, use their superhero abilities to do stuff. This was just not the film. This movie was just absolutely just like lame, boring. But Anya Taylor-Joy, I gotta say, I love her character. I feel like she can move, up a level into the MCU. I feel like she could be useful, in the MCU universe. And yeah, so that's one of my favorite characters in this movie. Another thing that I really didn't understand about this movie was Anya Taylor-Joy's character starring as Magic. I feel like she's the star of this movie. I feel like she stands out of all the other mutants in this movie, which was like, okay, why don't they just name this movie Magic, or the source of magic, or something? Because this movie was basically just all about Anya Taylor-Joy's character, Magic, because she was getting all the action, and, just very entertaining just watching her character. And all these other people are just, just watching, sitting down, not doing anything. But that's what I didn't understand about, the movies. She stood out more than all the other mutant characters. And yeah, hey guys, this movie, it kind of felt like there were some scenes missing from the movie. Like we were supposed to see, something else, or it just felt kind of empty. I felt like there were some scenes missing in this movie, that could have been added in this movie. I know this movie was supposed to be released in 2018, and I think they were supposed to do reshoots and stuff, but it ended up they just left the movie as it was. I mean, I don't have a problem with this movie. It's entertaining. It's just not like X-Men 1, X-Men 2. I will say, though, this movie, if I were to choose between Dark Phoenix and this movie, I would probably say this movie. And one of the things that, didn't fit in this movie is, if you've seen any comic book movie, like, I don't know, anything connected to the universe, or like a DC universe, or like a Marvel movie universe, and you've seen a movie and they're like, oh, or like it'll connect you. Like, they talk about the X-Men in this movie so many times, and I'm like, okay, I feel like this movie is like, make it seem like this movie kind of exists, and the X-Men universe. They talk about how they could be part of the X-Men squad, and all of that. And I'm like, okay, this movie just doesn't feel right. It feels lost. It doesn't feel like it's connected to anything. It feels disconnected to any other Marvel movie, and it's just funny hearing them say we could go to the X-Men or we could be part of the X-Men. Just referencing the X-Men, it's just like this was the wrong movie for them to do that. But that, I really did not appreciate that in this movie. I felt like they should have just kept that quiet, because I know that this movie or these actors aren't really going to go anywhere, moving up to, the Marvel Universe or showing up in other movies. But I feel like they shouldn't have done that. So let's talk more about the cast members of this movie. We have Anya Taylor-Joy starring as Magic. You may know her from the movie Split. We have Maisie Williams starring as Rein. She stars in the popular show Game of Thrones, which everyone loves, including me. Charlie Heaton starring from Stranger Things. Braga starring as Cecilia Reyes, and you may have seen her in Queen of the South. Henry Zaga, I think I've seen the show on Netflix called Triplets or Trinklets or something like that. But yeah, this movie has some really good cast members. We got Split, we got Game of Thrones, we got Stranger Things, and Queen of the South. They just wasted a lot of good characters. I felt like Anya Taylor-Joy's character was worth it in this movie, but like Maisie Williams' character wasn't even that interesting. It didn't really grab your interest. Even seeing her mutant powers for the first time was like, why does it look like more cooler in the trailers? And but in the movie, it's not as good. So that's one of the down things that I really didn't like about this movie was, everything in the trailer looked like the movie was just like complete. Like it was just bomb, like really good. But when you see this movie for the first time and you're watching the beginning of the movie, you're like, okay. And then 5 minutes later, it's like complete silence. It was boring kind of in the beginning, quiet. You would think you would get this kind of dark vibe, but it wasn't really that dark. Dani Moonstar arrives in a facility. It just didn't really stand out as much as it could have. Now, the plot of this movie, we have Dani Moonstar. She doesn't know what her powers are. But as she gets closer to these other mutants, she kind of, starts to develop her powers. But like I said, this movie, Dani Moonstar in this movie, her abilities, I'm not going to spoil anything about her character, but I just feel like it was useless. Like, we only got to see it one time, and it wasn't even good. I felt like, her abilities was just like useless in this movie. I don't mean to be mean. I don't mean to hate on this movie, but I just feel like, I don't know. It just didn't feel complete to me. But this movie could have done better, guys. If I'm going to rate this movie, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars, a C. But yeah, like I said, guys, this is a entertaining film. One of those films you just see and it's, entertaining enough to get you through it. Not to walk out on it halfway, but to get you through it. It's entertaining. And yeah. Guys, so if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that notification bell and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, guys. Bye and have a good day.